This video is sponsored by MILANOTE. I found a gorgeous 9-drawer French Provincial dresser that was covered in some old beat up brown paint on sale at the thrift store for $30. So I'm going to show you how to go about repainting an already painted piece of furniture and give this one a fresh fall inspired makeover with a bit of a dark romantic flair. This French Provincial style of furniture was popular from the late 1940s all the way through the early 80s, and there is a ton of it out there, all made with different kinds of construction, from a mix of solid wood and specialty wood veneers, or like this one, which I can tell from looking at the back or from taking a peek inside, is a mix of hardboard and particle board panels attached to a solid wood frame. Obviously, someone has already given this thing a makeover, but it's looking a little ragged around the edges again, and it's ready for another glow up. Over the summer, I realized that always flying by the seat of my pants with my furniture flipping projects is exhausting and not sustainable for my business in the long term. So I've actually started using MILANOTE as a tool to help me organize the creative mess that's always in my head. It's basically like an online bulletin board where you can stick photos, articles, links, drawings, color swatches, anything, and organize your thoughts in a visual way. Here's the board I made for this dresser makeover. I started with a before picture of the piece along with a swatch of the color I want to use and some other color inspirations. Then I made myself a to-do list with parts and supplies that I need to order, added the links to the replacement handles I want to use, and found a beautiful selection of drawer liner options too. I started a subboard to keep some room inspiration images as I find them. These are the kind of spaces that I see the finished design living in once I'm done. And another subboard is holding some more painted French Provincial examples and ideas that I've fallen in love with, so I can quickly find them and refer back to them whenever I want. There's even a cool web clipper extension that lets me just roll over an image on a website or even highlighted text and save it directly to my board without having to screenshot or copy and paste anything. I popped a table down here too so I can keep track of all my expenses, updating things as I move through the project, and hopefully keep things on target. It's so easy to use. There are over 100 built-in template options to start you off, or you can use a blank canvas and just drag and drop notes, links, photos, videos, add arrows to connect items together, and even sketch or write directly on your board. With MILANOTE, it's also easy to share your boards and invite people to edit or just preview, which I think would be a fantastic option if you're working with clients on custom refinishing projects. That way they can share their concepts and ideas with you, and you can keep an eye on things to make sure everyone's on the same page as you work through the refinishing process. The best part is MILANOTE is completely free with absolutely no time limit. So if you think this is a tool that you can use, make sure you sign up for a free MILANOTE account using the link in the description of this video. Okay, let's get back to the garage. I always start my projects by taking them apart, checking out and assessing all the moving parts and cleaning things. Since a couple of these drawers weren't sitting in their openings properly and rubbing the paint off around the edges, I looked over the wooden tracks that they slide on to make sure that they're all intact and securely attached to the frame. And then I took a look at the corresponding glides on the bottoms of the drawers. I've never seen this style of track in nylon before. Usually they're also wood or sometimes metal, but this time they're plastic, and now I can see why we're having issues. Since these handles aren't original and a few are missing anyway, I ordered some new pieces in the classic French Provincial style, and I'll probably just donate these ones right back to the thrift store. I could see that these guides were glued on originally, so I used a bit of fresh Gorilla Glue to re-secure them, and then some masking tape just to hold things in place while it dried, and got started on the cleaning process.
After vacuuming up the dust bunnies from the bottom and inside, I sprayed the outside down with some simple green degreaser and scrubbed everything with a microfiber cloth and hot water. You always want to start with a clean surface so you know you're not accidentally going to grind any dirt, oils, or wax down into the surface when you start the sanding process. You probably also don't want a piece of furniture with someone else's dirt in it, whether you're reselling it or making it over for yourself, because that's gross. Okay, I've come to the point in the project where I need to decide what I'm going to do about the paint that's already on this dresser. So let me walk you through my thought process and decision-making process on how I'm going to do this. Most of the paint that's on here is really well adhered. I've scrubbed at it and picked at it. The spots where it is not well attached are areas where it's had major trauma from being smashed into, or any spots around the edges where it's been rubbing on another surface, which any paint will do. The rest of it is in good condition. I just don't like the texture of it. So my options are to either remove this completely and start with a blank slate for my own paint job, or smooth it out so that I can put my own smoother finish on top of it, which I think is going to be okay to do since it's stuck down. If I were going to completely strip this, I could use a chemical stripper, but since I've already determined that the top and sides of this dresser are hardboard or MDF, which is basically heavy-duty cardboard, liquid and cardboard don't get along too well. I don't want to cause any issues that way. I could also use my carbide scraper to scrape most of the paint off of the surface. But again, with the hardboard being a little bit softer than most woods, I'm worried about potentially catching something and creating more damage on that surface than I need to. So I think what I'm going to do is actually try and smooth all this out with my sander and a fine grit sandpaper, which will probably gum up my sandpaper pretty quickly because this is a modern paint, which has a lot of latex, plasticky components to it. So when it warms up with the friction of the sander, it tends to melt and ball up on the sandpaper. I will need to be changing out my sanding pads quite frequently, but I think given all of the circumstances involved, that's going to be my best bet. That's where I'm going to start anyways. I may end up switching back to the carbide scraper, but I'm going to start with sanding and see how that goes. I started with some 120 grit on my sander to see how that did, and it seemed to be smoothing out all of that orange peel texture and the scratches really well without grinding all the way down through the paint to the MDF underneath. You can see the paint was balling up, but it actually didn't gum up the sandpaper as quickly as I was expecting, which was awesome. To get around any curvy details, I added this foam interface pad in between the sanding plate and the sandpaper so that I could keep smoothing down the paint texture without risking grinding the actual surface flat or misshaping it at all. Once I had everything as smooth as I thought I could get it, I vacuumed up all the pilled up little paint balls and counted out exactly how many sanding sheets this took. Like I said, it wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be, but I still went through 16 sheets, and you can see here where it's all clogged with melted paint. When that starts to happen, it's time to change the paper. To get ready to add my new primer to things, I put some little pieces of masking tape on the inside of the hardware holes and then wrapped each drawer with some plastic to keep the insides nice and clean. I see a lot of people skip this step because of the time and added expense and just spray with the drawers inside the unit, but I've never had much luck with that method. So just know that because you saw someone do it one way on the internet does not mean that's the only way to do things, and you should change it up to whatever way is going to work for you. I threw down a drop cloth, propped the body up on some old paint cans, and laid out the drawers and got started priming. I usually use this bright white shellac-based primer because it covers all the reasons one could need to prime a surface. But because I'm going to be using such a saturated red shade, I wanted to use a gray primer instead. So I grabbed a few spray cans of this one by Rust-Oleum. Red pigments tend to be pretty transparent and require 3, 4, or sometimes 5 coats to get full coverage, but using a gray underneath can really help reduce the amount of paint that you need to use. This is going to give me a nice, consistent base color for the red to go over, seal up any porous spots where I've exposed the hardboard or sanded all the way back to bare wood, and get everything to the same texture before I add my paint. Once the primer was dry enough, I rubbed everything down lightly with a fine foam pad to knock off any bits that had landed on it and smooth out any spots that were still rough from the first round of sanding, dusted things off, and then got set up for my paint. I went with Behr's Satin Alkyd Enamel, which is a great interior or exterior grade paint that has all the durability performance of an oil-based paint in a more easy to clean and lower VOC waterborne formula. It brushes, rolls, and sprays really nicely, has a 4 to 8 hour recoat time, and it's tough enough that it doesn't need any additional top coating. When I went to pick this up at Home Depot, they had a big swatch of the color of the year on a board, and it looked a lot more kind of classic red than I'd been picturing. And I really wanted something that leaned a little more of that purpley red wine color, so I ended up changing my mind last minute from Rumors to this twinberry color instead. I strained about a pint of paint into my pneumatic spray gun to make sure there weren't any chunks or clumps that might clog things, and then tested out the spray pattern and flow on some cardboard to get everything perfect before I started on the piece. Once I was happy with the amount of paint that was coming out, I got to work. This fuchsia color was pretty concerning at first, but as soon as it started to dry, you could really see that color darken and richen up, which was kind of cool to watch. It looks so crazy as it's drying darker. That's good though. It was giving a little too much Barbie for what I wanted. I left the first coat to dry for about 5 hours and then rubbed it down again with my fine sanding sponge to smooth things out and dusted it off one more time before starting on the second coat. And I left my gun loaded up in between coats too. I just used a little bit of acetone to wipe any dried paint off the tip before I got started again. This coat filled in any sparse spots really well, and I was pretty impressed with the coverage. I was expecting to need to do 3 coats, but that gray primer came in clutch and did its thing. That dried overnight, and in the morning I was ready to unwrap things and get started on all the special little details. Now, I'm usually a very basic girly. I don't like adding a bunch of transfers, gilding, or bling to my furniture designs, but this French Provincial style is really made for the full princess effect, and it's pretty normal to see the drawer details painted gold, so I wanted to embrace that. I used some of this Rub and Buff metallic wax and a few small craft brushes to glamify the router details on the drawers and down the front legs of the dresser, just using a little bit of low-tack painter's tape wherever I could to help me stay inside the lines. And then I rubbed a bit onto the new handles too, so they'd match the other details. This stuff is self-sealing, so as soon as it's dry, it's pretty permanent. Once I had all the new handles installed, it was time to add the finishing touch with this peel and stick wallpaper that I'm actually using as a drawer liner instead. I kind of just eyeballed the measurements, cut a section for each drawer, and then stuck it down to the bottom, making sure I rubbed out any air bubbles and trimmed all the excess as I went. Okay, let's take a look back at the sad brown dresser that I picked up from the thrift store with its dinged up paint job and missing its statement hardware. And here is what I was able to turn it into. It's definitely outside of my usual, more minimal aesthetic, but I'm glad I spent the time to add that extra bit of sparkle to this beautiful piece of furniture. It's still got some texture, and if you look really closely, you can see some signs of it being well loved over the years, but now it's refreshed and ready to head off to its next home. Thank you so much for watching as I worked my way through this project. I'm going to leave a few more colorful furniture flips here if you want to keep watching, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll catch you all next time.